So this is fantastic. I mean, I think I was able to record. I haven't been able to record a session for about a couple of days, but a couple of very interesting things happened. For example, I was able to go on a holiday with my family. I think after about 2 years. I mean, since the time Antaira started, I think this is the first ever holiday I took. Really good. Spent some time in Kandy, spent some time in Habarana. Fantastic time. And then thought I'll come back. Wrote rode actually for 6 hours to get here, and then thought I'll. Also, one thing I interestingly measured is that I am now 94 kilograms, which is 14 kilograms over my ideal weight, or at least closer to the ideal weight. So I'm now a little bit panicked. Realized that I need to get my shit in order, and that I want to actually kind of think about how do I kind of lose my weight by December 2017. So need to really put some effort and time into it, but we'll get there. So one of the things I realized about while we were doing this is the fact that there had been a kind of interesting thing about after I spoke about the decision of setting up a business. The decision of setting up a business is very easy, like partners, all of that kind of is messing up. But it's really hard for a lot of startups to find out actual investment in setting up a private limited in Sri Lanka. Since I'm in the process of setting it up, I am now able to share with you all kind of a cost that actually I could kind of give you like a baseline to say these are like the rough calculations. The first decision when we say that you want to legalize your entity is the name. Now, when you are deciding to set up a name, there are a couple of things that are very important. Now, for me, getting a .com domain was super important. So in order for me to get a .com domain, even though we came up with the name of Antaira, we realized that we don't have a .com domain, so we actually put in a term called solutions. So antairasolutions.com is the domain that I bought. Now, as a result, weirdly, that actually is the same name we decided to register as a private limited. Now, when I want to set up a private limited company, there are a couple of legal kind of paperwork that need to be done. First thing is the choice of a company secretariat. Now, selecting a company secretariat isn't very hard. There are many in Sri Lanka. Usually these are lawyers or legal background, and there is a set of documentation that you need to submit, etc. Now, if it's a 100% owned private limited company, it's a lot, maybe one document less. But if it's usual scenario is that you have multiple directors and multiple shareholders coming in, there's a little bit of a process, and there's a bit more, maybe one or two additional documentation that you need to do. Now, what I'm going to share with you today is a rough estimate of a cost structure of setting up a company. Now, if you look at this document, you will realize that there are a couple of articles: Form 1, Form 18, Form 19, certificate copy, etc. that need to be put in. You also need to do public notices on a newspaper in all 3 languages. You need to get rubber seals done. Then there's an emboss that is required. Then there's the professional fees of the company secretariat that need to get it done. Now, these numbers may vary, few thousands, 5,000, 10,000 rupees, depending on whom you contact. But these are usual structures, and I've cut it to almost about 100,000 bucks in order to set up a company in Sri Lanka as private limited. Now, I am very much aware that anybody can do this. I myself, if I have the enough time to invest, study this and do it, this is not supposed or meant to be rocket science. However, the easier path of doing that is to have a company secretariat appointed. The reason is that every time after you set up the company, there are documentation that is required when you want to make changes. For example, now you want to set up a bank account for your company. Now you need to get a credit card for your company. All these times it has to get a board resolution done. And when you get all these board resolutions and everything done, usually getting these formats and all that. Most of the banks, if you're working with a bank, in order for you to get a checkbook or whatever done, these board resolutions are standard formats that are available, but the board resolutions and etc. are usually a work that the company secretariat is doing for you. That is why you are paying them the fee. They are also responsible for submitting your returns on time. They are also responsible for making sure if you want to do any business registration, address changes, etc. Those are the kind of fees that a company secretariat would do for you. I follow the route of getting someone in, and I follow the route where I paid them for that service, because I believe there are professionals for each service that you want to obtain. But the return is the cost for me for setting up a company in Sri Lanka Private Limited as of November 2016. I don't think it has changed so much over the next 6 months. Is about 100,000 rupees. And I keep forgetting that you could ask me any questions. The idea behind doing this series of recording is for me to share with you guys whatever I know. These are most of the time are common questions I've been asked by startups, entrepreneurs, all this kind of people who have been very, very interested in setting up a business, and I would like to support you in any way. And this is my own little way of helping. I already got 3 comments. The first comment I got is, my background need to change. Completely agree. The voice quality is not good, so I need to improve that. I'm working on that, so I will see what I can do to improve the voice quality. The last one is making myself look a little better. Unfortunately, last is not an option. But hit me back. My email will keep coming up at the end of my podcast. Just let me know any question you have. I'd love to hear from you. Say the good, the bad, and the ugly. All are welcome.